So this is the HUAWEI Mate Xs2 and it's the latest foldable phone that Huawei has released. And you know what? It's very nice. Okay, so let's start out this review with what's in the box. Well, first of all, the box is rather huge, and when you open it up, the first thing that you will see is, well, obviously the phone, but underneath that you will find two boxes. One houses the charging adapter and the USB Type-C cable, and the other comes with documentations, the SIM injector, and a flexible phone case. So you don't have to go out there and go and hunt down a case for a phone like this. So the color that we have here is the black edition, and again, first impressions, it's very nice. Huawei has always opted for a different way to fold the phone. Instead of folding it like a book like many of the other phone manufacturers out there, the XS2 folds outwards. And there's two reasons why I think that this makes a lot more sense. The first is because it folds differently compared to the other phones. You will notice that the crease at the folding point is not obvious at all. It is only visible if you're actually looking for it. The second is that now the phone looks and feels like any other smartphone out there when it is folded. And I kind of like it because unlike the other phones, when you fold it, what you're left with, it's such a small screen that I find it kind of pointless. Oh, and not to mention that it's hella easier to unfold this phone. Where else the other phones, you need to pry the damn thing open. The XS2 has a release button located at the back of the phone, which kind of does quarter of the work for you by giving you enough space to grip it and unfold it. Personally, if foldable phones are going to become mainstream, I really hope that other companies would adopt this idea, because prying the thing open is very uncool. And when you fold it, the back of the phone is covered in this leather-like material, giving it a more premium look and feel. It's not like you have to tense up all the muscles in your body to open it up, but it's still pretty stiff. And I don't mind that because at least it gives me the security that these hinges are strong. As Huawei is using some double falcon wing hinge, which basically means that once the first falcon wing opens, the second one will catch and it will unfold the phone the rest of the way. Now, what am I saying? I have no idea, but hey, it does feel good and it feels solid. And that's all that matters when it comes to phones like this. But aside from the quick release button at the back of the phone, above that is the rear camera module. And on the right, you will find the power button, which doubles as a fingerprint sensor, and the volume rocker. At the bottom is the USB Type-C charging port. The phone is also very compact because it only has a thickness of 11.1mm when folded and 5.4mm when it's unfolded, making it the thinnest foldable phone from any company to date. Also, while the hinge have two birds that are shoved into it, that's a joke by the way, I realized that when it unfolds, it doesn't unfold flat. It kind of curves a bit, and I know that that's not a problem, but the OCD inside of me is twitching really bad. Alright, so the screen is very nice. It has a 120Hz OLED panel with a 6.5-inch screen when folded and a 7.8-inch screen when unfolded. It also supports 1.07 billion colors. When they told us about this phone, they really sold hard on the display. And I think that that makes a lot of sense because the display is beautiful and the OLED display is definitely doing its work here because the vibrancy is really punchy and the blacks are actually blacks. OLED things, right? Even the viewing angles are great, and coupled with that 120Hz refresh rate, honestly, I can't ask for more. It also gets really bright and I found no issues using it outdoors. Now, again, with this kind of phone's aspect ratio, when you unfold the phone, some of your videos are definitely going to have black bars, and that might be a deal breaker for some of you, but again, it still gives you a bigger screen real estate to watch your videos. But when it comes to gaming, games manage to adapt to this kind of aspect ratio. So in many of the games that I tried, I didn't find any issues with this aspect ratio. Now the phone might be pretty and unique, but performance is what I look at in a phone. And again, not disappointed. While the phone might be using the notorious Snapdragon 888 processor, on normal usage, I had absolutely no problems with it. It was smooth, it was snappy, and the fact that it doesn't do some funny crap when trying to unfold it so that the content can readjust itself gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling inside. Normal usage is great. Apps launch up in a snap, and for the past 2 weeks that I had my hands on this phone, I never experienced any lags or restarts. I've been playing a lot of Diablo Immortal, and even if this chip is known to be blazing hot, the only part of the phone that heats up is this piece here, which I assume is where all the hardware is stored, as the screen part is obviously too small to house any hardware. Oh, and the fact that it can fold open to become a bigger screen really adds value to the gaming aspect. Aside from that, it comes with 8GB of RAM and 512GB of storage. Now, we get to the part where everyone is worried about when buying a Huawei phone. Yes, it runs on EMUI 12 and doesn't have any Google apps. So let's get that out of the way, download G-Space, and Google is back. It's time to stop singing the song that Huawei doesn't have Google. We know, we get it. Also, by the way, Google, I love you, but your app store is honestly quite trash. So yeah, G-Space for Gmail and YouTube, and the app store you can use Huawei's, but why the ads though? I personally use TapTap to download games, which I find is better than the Play Store, but coming back to EMUI 12, it is easy to navigate around and comes with all the Huawei ecosystem features like mirroring your phone to a Huawei laptop and all that other good stuff. Also, because you have access to a bigger screen, you can technically have up to 4 apps open on the screen at once. 2 will take up half of the screen and the other 2 will be floating windows. Then you can easily just grab content from one app and shove it over to the other app by just tapping around. Now, of course, I understand that 4 apps might be too much, but at the same time, I wanted to test the performance, and I was surprised to find out that there wasn't any lags or any slowdown on the phone. And I'd say that's pretty good performance right there. Okay, now for the camera. The Mate Xs2 houses 3 camera sensors, a 50MP true chroma camera, an 8MP telephoto camera, and a 13MP ultra wide angle lens. Picture quality wise, I think it does a good job. The details are good, the exposure control is good as well, and it does feel like it goes for more of a natural tone of colors. I personally prefer more vibrancy, but it doesn't look faded. Night shots, on the other hand, is not really to my liking. It does light up the shot pretty well, but it feels like there is a lot of noise that is visible around. Details are also not that great in night shots because of all these issues that I mentioned. But this does seem like it's a software thing, and the fact that this phone came directly from the factory, I'd assume if you give it a bit more time, Huawei will definitely take out some software updates to fix these issues. As for video wise, it shoots at both 1080p and 4K at 60 frames per second, and stabilization is great. And finally, we have the 10MP selfie camera, which does take some nice pictures, but I found it kind of pointless because it has this cool feature about the phone where it has the ability to turn on a preview at the back of the phone when the screen is folded, giving you the ability to use the rear cameras as a selfie camera without any limitations. Lastly, we have the battery. Powering the phone is a 4600 mAh battery which can easily last a day, and that's with me playing games, browsing the internet, and scrolling my social media feeds. This also includes me unfolding the phone occasionally when watching a video or playing games. Now, you might think that the battery is too small, but to me, if a phone can last an entire day, then it's good enough for me. It also accepts 66 watts of charging, which will get you to a full battery in less than an hour. Now, I do apologize. I know that this is a long video, but there is just so much to talk about the Mate Xs2. I personally think that if companies want to make foldable phones a thing, this is honestly the best way to do it. But sadly, this phone comes in at 8,000 ringgits. Now, here's the thing, right? Huawei understands that that's a very expensive price, and they've already stated that this is a premium phone and it might not be for everyone. So at the end of the day, if you are willing to spend the money on a foldable phone that will probably last a very long time, then this is probably the option for you. But guys, that's all I have for the Mate Xs2. Let me know in the comments below if you think that this phone is right for you, and let me know if you prefer this type of folding mechanism or do you prefer that book style of folding mechanisms. Let me know in the comments below, and while you're there, don't forget, there is a sub and a bell button. So with that guys, I'll see you in the next video.